The reason this video is taking so long is because I had to wait for a speaker to come in. When I originally set up this unit, I said I didn't think that this speaker, and if you look at the part numbers on here, I didn't think that this speaker was going to be able to handle 70 watts from the original Leslie output, because they're rated at 70 watts. And when I looked up this speaker, it's only rated at 40 watts and 70 watts of music power. So when I was doing the original testing, all of a sudden everything got distorted. And so I figured the speaker was bad, and I pulled it apart, and you can see the coil had come off the voice coil part there. And a lot of this wire was stuck down in, and you can see the insulation is completely worn off it. So this speaker couldn't handle it, so I had to order another speaker that would be able to handle the wattage of that output. So at this point, you're probably wondering, what the hell are you doing? Well, this is an idea that is borrowed from an old RCA console that we had back in the 70s. And basically all I did was cut a circle bigger than the speaker, and we've stapled on some regular screen mesh to it. And then making the top is a little tough. Once you get it around, you can make a baffle so it's nice and round, but the top is a bit of a pain. So what you have to do is strip a piece of stranded wire like that, and then take the strands apart, single strand at a time, and then you can just form the top. Now, you might be saying, well, what are you going to do with it after that? I mean, it's a screen baffle, it's not really going to be that good. Well, after we get this thing complete and molded out the way we want it, we're going to do what RCA did. We're going to spray the whole thing with spray foam, so that the spray foam is going to make this rigid, and it will make a speaker baffle so that we get better sound out of the Leslie. We're complete now, and our back piece, or our baffle, looks like a cake. But like I say, believe it or not, RCA used to do something similar to this on their console stereos. There wasn't enough baffle behind the speaker, so they used some sort of spray foam to make a cavity so that the speaker sounded better. So that's what we're attempting to do here. What we have here is the final product. You can see we have our amplifier here, we have our preamplifier here, we have our 15-pin input, our input jack, our power supply is mounted. Right there we have our Hall effect sensor pickup. And up top here, I had to mount the power supply and cut a hole down through so that the power supply connector could come up through. This ugly looking thing is our baffle. And back in the back, you can see our motor and mount, and the wire is taped out of the way or tie wrapped out of the way so that it doesn't get caught in the spinning portion. And we can see it spins rather freely. So I'm going to put it back together and we'll take a listen to it. Our completed Leslie. We did what we could with the faceplate. It was pretty beat up. We cleaned it up and repainted it. The whole cabinet's been re-Tolexed. The original grill cloth holders were an ugly gold, so they were painted silver to enhance the look. And then we added black speaker cloth. These side pieces, originally Leslie, they were gray and they looked like a bad amusement park ride. They were full of disgusting crap. I cleaned them up as best as I could and they still look like crap. So we used what they call a vinyl paint that you can get at AutoZone and painted them black so we could get rid of all the nastiness. And it looks a lot better like this. If we go to the side, we installed 3D printed handholds because this thing's kind of heavy. So we got a handhold here, and you can see we redid the grill cloth. Hey, push this back, the grill cloth and everything else. I don't think these were the original forms. That's why you see the gaps in the end. I did the best I could. The back turned out real nice. We added a 3D printed cord holder so that you could transport this easily, and then there's a cord catch. The back door was remade. You can see the volume pot and the 15-pin connector and the guitar or organ input. Any 1/4-inch jack will work in here. And then the other side, it's got the 3D printed holder again. And again, the improved drill cloth. So let's talk about the motor speed control. The motor speed control is nothing more than a voltage regulator. And I tried to keep it as simple as possible, but we'll go through the explanation. Basically, we have 26 volts unregulated here, which is controlled by a relay, and that will send the power forward. So on the pedal switch, there's an on-off slow speed switch. When this switch goes on, this relay is a 12-volt DC relay. So this drops the voltage down to 12 volts so this relay can kick on. This relay then kicks on and allows that 26 volts to go to the input of the LM317 voltage regulator. This cap is for like high frequency filtering. The problem with the LM317 voltage regulator is the fact that max it can do 1.5 amps. The problem with the 775 motor is sometimes on startup you'll pull 2 amps. Somewhere in my testing I found 2.2 something in there. So what we had to do is put a 2N3055 power transistor up here, which shares the load of this LM317. So as soon as you get about 0.6 volts between the base and the emitter, this transistor kicks on and passes the extra current out to the motor. That's it. The LM317 is rather unique because all you have to do is control the input on the input pin. So there is a 240 ohm feedback resistor here and a cap here for filtration. But this feedback resistor regulates the output voltage so that it stays relatively constant. So in the foot switch, we have a slow resistor and a fast resistor. And when you flip the foot switch from slow to fast, it just changes the resistor. And that resistor just changes the output voltage to the motor. So it's really simple. The motor then drives a magnet The magnet is on the rotor itself, and it's picked up by a Hall effect sensor. The RPM indicator is fed by the 18-volt regulator in the power supply and a ground, and it just figures out what the RPM is. And that's it. It's a simple setup to get the two speeds or the two variable speeds that you want out of your Leslie. This is the interconnect harness that goes between the main panel and the motor power supply and the Hall effect sensor. It's pretty much self-explanatory, but I'll leave that there just in case. This is the actual power supply. So in the power supply, get that centered, we have a 2-amp fuse that feeds a 120 to 20 volt transformer, which is what it's labeled, but it actually puts out about 26 volts. So that comes in and goes through a full wave bridge rectifier, and then 2 filtration caps, and then to a 7818 voltage regulator, which puts out the 18 volts for the speed indicator and for the LED lights. So that goes out of pin 5 out there. Pin 3 is an alignment pin. It's not connected. There's something stuck in there so that you can't put that plug on the wrong way. So then here's the K1 that we were talking about in the simplified diagram. It takes the unregulated voltage in here and puts it down to the LM317 module. And you also have current fed through the 2N3055, which shares it. And then that goes out to the motor. That's it. The speed sense in, this is what's coming off the 2 resistors. So the 2 resistors come in one or the other to the LM317 module, just like we spoke about in the previous slide. Here's the diagram of the foot switch itself. So you can see you have 18 volts coming in here. The 18 volts comes in here across S1, supplies power to the Hall effect sensor, and supplies power to the green and red LED. The other part of that switch is the ground and the switch ground, which controls the relay that feeds the 317. And on the other side of the switch down here, you have the 2 variable resistors that control the speed. And then you have your Hall effect sensor, and that's it. And this is just the umbilical cord. There's 7 wires used. White, blue is ground, blue is power on 3. White, orange is signal ground, which is the on-off switch for the relay. And the orange is the speed control from the 2 resistors. And these 3 wires, white, green, brown, and green, are for the Hall effect switch that go from the foot switch itself to the Leslie amp. So here's a demo. You have to excuse the noise of my pellet stove in the background, but I'm going to go ahead and put a song on from the Yamaha piano. Alright, so now we're going to go ahead and switch on the low speed. So let me move in closer here. You can see we're running close to 40, which is the normal 825 low speed. So if we go to high, we're going to go up to 340. And we can increase the volume. increase the speed, you can run this speed anywhere you want. If we go really fast, you can hear it get really strange. So I believe that Leslie was onto something when he picked the 340 speed. It's generally where it sounds kind of the best. So here's another song for you. So here's just a single note. Just going to play a single note and go through the speed. That's all I got for now. Unfortunately, that speaker's already sold. I managed to pick up another one, so I'll be converting it, and it'll be for sale. But I'm using the same, everything that I've done in this video, I'm going to do on the new one. Hopefully you enjoyed the process. I know it was long. I know it took several videos to get here, and I'm looking to make some shorter videos in the future on learning basic electronics. So we'll go from there. If you like the video, please like and subscribe, and I guess we'll see you next time.